Hi there, this is Cicely at So White. I'm going to do my first ever video today, which hopefully will go quite well. I'm going to show you how to pipe chocolate into little crowns for the Jubilee. You can do this for any little decoration you want, as long as it's quite sturdy, because chocolate can break quite easily when you're doing it at this thinly. Okay, so first off, I've got some images of crowns off Google Images, just a couple of ones that are quite bold, so that they would hopefully work. Okay, what you do is take a piece of greaseproof paper, put the grease side up, and I'm just going to sellotape it lightly on top so it doesn't move when I start piping the chocolate on top. And I've also I've sellotaped the crown print off that I've done underneath so I can see exactly what I'm going to do. If you want, you could copy the crown design onto the greaseproof paper on the reverse side and then do it, but if you're only going to do a few like I'm going to do, it's a lot simpler, easy to do. I also suggest doing this on a baking tray because then it's easier to put in the fridge to dry. You don't have to try and balance a bit of paper. Right, okay, so there we go, laid out, ready to start. Let me get the chocolate. I have got a beautiful bag of molten chocolate. You can use dark chocolate, light chocolate, candy melts, so you can make them any colour. Anything. Now I'm sure some people will tell me off that I'm not using a nozzle for this, but if you cut it small enough, you're not really going to know because the chocolate will spread slightly. It's not going to hold its shape as if you were using butter icing or even piped royal icing. But yeah, okay, so we're going to try it with this. I'm just going to try and push it up to the top as it goes, just lightly. You don't want it to burst out. Right, okay, so I'm going to cut a tiny bit off the top. That off, don't want it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just do a couple of little dots at the bottom just to see how fast it's coming out, because I don't want it to come out too fast. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so for a simple design like this crown at the bottom, all I'm going to do, go round, I'm going to fill it in. I don't want it to be a whole, just an outline. I want it to be a whole chocolate crown. So yeah, it takes a little bit of practice, and the more you do it, I think I've cut the hole a little bit too small, so I'm just going to make it just a tiny bit bigger. Just get that off, don't want it. Alright, okay, so now, just gonna, there we go, that's better. And over, up, do the dots, back down, up, do the dots. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of it. It's quite good fun. And remember, if they don't work, let them dry and you can melt them back down again. Don't have to waste any chocolate. Apart from the ones that you'll of course have to try to make sure that they're done at the end. Do that dot a bit bigger. Okay, so it looks kind of messy, but when you turn it over and it's dried, it will be fine. Right, okay, I've done the next one, and what would have been really clever is I'd started at the top and worked my way down, because now I'm going to get my sleeves in the chocolate. So I'm going to start the top ones. Okay. Okay, and as long as you sort of know how your piping bag is going to sort of work, or where it comes out thickest, this should be pretty easy. If you can pipe cupcakes, you can pipe this. This is quite a simple thing. You don't really need to have well, I'd say not too much concentration, but I'm concentrating pretty hard. Okay, let's do the middle bit. I'm going to leave out the dots at the bottom because I think they might break it. I haven't tried these ones before, but I've done them in the past and they work pretty well. So if you think maybe that the arms are too small, that doesn't matter about that bit. What you can do is just sort of take the piping bag, because I haven't put a nib in, I was going to say nib, that's not the right word. As I haven't put a nozzle in it, I can tell that the closest to me is quite flat, so if I need to sort of do lines, it can be quite a good thing. So just turn it Go around that way. Get my finger in it. It's one of the good things about playing with chocolate. If you get it on your hands, it's no problem. Unless you're trying to feed it to other people, but if you lick your fingers. Right, let's try to do the middle bits. Alright, I'm just gonna do a blob there instead because I want to sort of show you the other one as well. I do it through the top so it just has that little bit extra support. Okay, and don't worry, when you turn them over, they will look absolutely brilliant. Right. I forgot to say, when I started with the chocolate, I decided to just let the chocolate cool down ever so slightly just before starting. Because one, you temper it and it makes it nice and shiny, and that's what we like. And two, if it's too warm, it tends just to rush out. And it doesn't always appear to be that smooth either, from experience of this. I'm just gonna go up and down the middle, fill in the hole. The good thing is, if they do go horribly wrong, or you don't really like what they've turned out, when they've dried, peel them off, put them back in a pan, melt them down again. It's a fantastic thing to do. Right. And the more you try, the more adventurous you can be with thinner designs, smaller designs. But these are just jolly good for cake toppers. Remember, this side will be the back side. This side away from the viewer, hopefully. And so when you turn them around, they'll be flat because they've been lying on the baking tray. Right, and then let's try. Every time you start a new one, it's a good idea just to sort of wipe the tip clean, so it's not going to come out as a huge bulge and ruin it, because it's always quite sad when that happens. So let's try this one. This is a bit more of a dainty one, I think. So right, I'm going to do this one in tiny little stages. Okay. If you are going to do one with a lot of little detail, I would suggest using a nozzle because it is just a little bit more control. But again, it's up to you. You don't have to do it with a nozzle. I prefer not doing it with a nozzle because I'm a bit lazy and there's always more washing up. And plus, most of the time, this is a perfectly brilliant way of doing it. You can tell I'm nervous doing this video because I'm shaking during the chocolate. Okay, well, let's fill in the middle. Oh, it's nice chocolate. Now, what you could do is I'm making this quite thick because I do like a thick bit of chocolate. But if you are doing this, you can make it thinner. Don't have to do it as much chocolate as I'm doing. Okay, wipe it off again. Now I have to say, I think the ones at the bottom are going to work out absolutely beautifully. Because they're just thick chocolate, there's not too much design. So the best way to do it, blob and pull off. Blob and pull off, just to make the blobs properly blobby. So blob and pull, it's just so you don't get any sort of line outside the crown, because then I can just fill in between the blobs the shape of the crown. Practice. I mean, this is only like the second or third time I've ever done this, and they're not the neatest things, but the more you do it, and plus when you turn them over, they are flat, so they do look a lot better when you turn them over. but the more you do it, the more precision you'll get. And also, as the chocolate cools down, you get a lot more control. Alright, I'm going to do those other two, so I'm just going to turn it round. Do the other two as well. Or three even, I can't count. Right, let's go. And what you can always do is use toothpicks, spoons, anything you want really to sort of tidy them up if you want, or leave them with a slightly bit more rustic charm. As I like to call my messy work, a bit of rustic charm. Right, okay. They're all done. So the best thing to do, if you can see that on here there's just a couple of lower lying levels, and you want to try and, anything where there's small bits, just try and build them up a little bit, because they might snap, and it's just really sad when they snap, especially when you spend quite a long time trying to pipe them and hold them all together. So I'm just going to do just a little bit of sort of gluing them back together, I suppose, before they've even broken. I think the rest of them are all okay. Alright. Okay, and the one good thing to do before you put them in the fridge, just push the baking tray down a little bit, and that should just get rid of any air bubbles that are too low to the surface. Right, let's put it in the fridge. Right, I've pulled the small crowns out of the fridge. They are perfectly hard. Now, using a palette knife, I'm going to try and pull them off. If you use your fingers, if you're hot-handed like me, you tend to melt them back into chocolate again, and that's not really what you want. So let's try this one. Brilliant. Okay, so there we go. There is a chocolate crown. It's always better to start, when you do this, start at the base where there's more chocolate, because it will come off a bit better. If you try doing the little bits first, they may snap, and that just makes you a bit sad. Right, there we go. That one looks pretty good. And normally, every time I do this, the first couple always don't look the best, so they're always the ones that are eaten, to make sure that the rest are good, that the chocolate is satisfactory. There we go. 12 really nice crowns, perfect, and ready for a cupcake. Well, royal cupcake, of course. Okay, here they are, the finished crown toppers for your cupcakes. The more you do, the better they will get. This first go, always, you'll get some odd little blobs and some odd little shapes, but they still all look like crowns, and they all look blooming good to me. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye!